My bad. Didn't see you there, Myron. Just messing around there. We're back with another Q&A, a J.A.M session. Just ask Matty. You ask, I answer. Question, answer, you, me, back to you. Change the scenery up a little bit. I'm in my basement. Got the weights behind me. You know, it's a little bit better sometimes than looking at the same wall, so I'm trying to keep it interesting. And let's get started with some of the questions. The first series of questions comes from Cody Heldak, who asks, how old are you? Currently I'm 86. No, I'm 24 years old. What are you going to school for, and where do you go to school? And also, I just want to mention that another person asked that question. Eos Hulez, I'm sorry, I probably completely just butchered your name. Asked what I'm studying, so I'll answer those all together. I'm currently going to Stony Brook University. I live in New York. What am I studying? Right now I'm a business management major with a specialization in marketing and a minor in English. I'm almost finished. I have one semester left. And Cody Heldak also asks, what made you want to get your tattoos? This tattoo on my right arm, when I was 18 years old, I got it done. It's a cross with the word mom and the date that she passed away, which was in 1992, so I got that in memory of her. And this one is a fist holding a chain with dog tags on it with the initials BB, which stands for Blood Brothers. I have two older brothers. The oldest went away. He's with the military, and he went overseas. And before he went overseas, about 2 years ago, the three of us got this tattoo done, all the same. And that's the only two I have right now. So that's that with the tattoos. Let's see. James Yamane or Yamane asks, is it necessary to include a Carb Up day while dieting? I've been losing a pound a week consistently without a Carb Up day for the last 2 months. I'd like a day where I can eat a bit more, but I'm afraid it would slow down my progress. Well, you're losing a pound a week consistently. I'm assuming that you're tracking your macronutrients, and I'm saying it's probably best to assume that you're maybe like a carbophobe. You're scared to introduce carbs into your diet, or they're extremely low because you feel that will help you lose weight. There's really no reason to necessarily cut carbs that dramatically. I'll throw up a link to my video on eating carbs and whether they're good or bad for you and whatnot, but absolutely, just eat more carbs one day, you know? There's nothing wrong with that. It's not going to slow down your progress at all. As long as you maintain a calorie deficit, you'll continue to lose weight. So I wouldn't stress too much about that. Eat the carbs and enjoy them. Sarah Defina. Sarah's a local. I know who she is. She asks, drop sets. What are the benefits of doing them? And what is a good way to incorporate them into your workout? How often can you use this technique? And when is a good time to do them? The beginning or the end of your workout? Personally, the only time I really use drop sets is if I'm pressed for time, or just because. Sometimes they're just fun to do. You know, you're struggling with a weight, you drop the weight, and you go to a lighter weight. So if you don't know what a drop set is, pretty much it would be like, this is 25 pounds, I'm curling it, and I pretty much hit failure, and I immediately go to a lighter weight, 20 or 15 pounds, and go to failure. So I drop the weight, drop set. How beneficial are they? If you're looking to gain strength, increase muscle and stuff like that, the problem is by the time you have fatigued your muscles with the heavier weight, when you go to the lighter weight, even though it's lighter, you're fatigued. You're probably going to sacrifice form greatly, and you're not lifting with that overload and the tension. So, you know, they can be helpful in some sense, but I wouldn't use them for the bulk of your routine. Maybe for one exercise out of your whole gym session, or once every so often, but not really necessary. But if you enjoy doing them, that's fine. Jahid Abdi asks, what is carb cycling? Is it effective for everybody? Is it a good fat loss routine? Carb cycling is simply that. It's cycling your carbs and not keeping anything consistent. If you're eating or you're tracking your macronutrients, you have set numbers, most likely, carbs, protein, and fat, that you keep consistent every day. And as long as you're hitting those numbers, you're probably hitting your goals, which are to either gain weight, lose weight, or maintain. The problem with carb cycling is a lot of people will cycle their carbs, but not their calories. So you're still taking in the same amount of energy, but just messing around with your carbs. So it really doesn't make sense to do that. A lot of people use carb cycling if they're about to lift, say, legs, which is considered the biggest muscle group, and people need the most energy for that. They might want to keep their carbs at like 400 grams that day, and then the next day might be an off day, and they might drop it to 200, and the next day might be a bicep day, and they might leave it at 50, and you know, people sometimes go to the extremes of cycling from a high day, low day, medium day, and keep cycling like that. Not really necessary. I think it's best to just keep things consistent and, you know, reach your goals by either hitting a caloric surplus or deficit. Carb cycling, again, is really used by the carbophobes, people who feel that they're going to get fat if they eat too many, and by restricting them, they're going to lose weight. None of that's really true, so I wouldn't really worry too much about carb cycling. Hope that answers your question. Again, like stuff like drop sets, carb cycling, stuff like that, I can make more in-depth videos. So I'm just trying to, you know, keep this short and try and answer your question as easily as possible. So, okay, another question by J.A.M. I just ruined your name forever. But share your thoughts on dealing with imbalances. Ever since I began weightlifting and such, I've always had an underdeveloped left arm, smaller bicep, weaker grip, and all that jazz. I've never really had a strength imbalance. I'm going to throw a picture up right here on the screen of me doing like a most muscular pose, and you can see my chest, I thought was an imbalance in the muscle. Maybe I wasn't working one side as well as the other side, but it actually turns out it's a muscular skeletal thing. It's the shape of my muscles, and that's just how they're going to look. So that's not answering your question. Strength imbalances, the best way to focus on strength imbalances is going to be isolation exercises, because what happens is if you do a compound exercise, you said your left bicep is weaker. So now if you're doing a compound, like a barbell curl, you're going like this, you're going to sacrifice so much of the weight. Your body's not going to want to use your left bicep to lift that weight. So you're going to end up going like this, not helping that strength imbalance at all. You're going to be getting the weight up, but with your right arm. So your best bet would be, try this out. Say your left bicep's weaker. You're going to go into the gym, and you're going to find out what that strength imbalance is. So if it's your left bicep, you're going to grab a dumbbell and do bicep curls with your left arm, and you want about 6 to 8 reps, maybe 6 to 10 reps, and start, you know, fairly light to see where that strength imbalance comes from, how heavy you can actually go, and get, say, 8 reps with that. Now what you're going to do is with your right arm, do the exact same weight with the exact same amount of reps. Problem is a lot of people will do, say, 30 pounds, and they'll get 8 reps, and since their right arm is stronger, they'll go ahead and do 50 pounds and get 10 reps because they can. Well, now all you're doing is you're making your right arm grow more than your left arm, and you want that imbalance to balance out. So you want to kind of keep it even. So those isolation exercises are going to help. If it's something, you know, sometimes it's not as simple as that. Sometimes it's not just a strength imbalance due to the amount of weight you lift. It could be a nerve pinch or an impingement, and that's something that, you know, only a credible physiologist can diagnose you with. And sometimes just doing that simple isolation exercise won't help. So message me on Facebook and we'll talk about that. We'll get something straightened out for you, and I'll help you out with that. And it seems like that's about it. There are a few more questions, but they're going to require, you know, longer videos. Just trying to keep this one fairly short. I hope I answered your questions. You know, I called your name out before the question. If I didn't completely answer it, or you have any questions on anything, again, leave a comment or message me on Facebook. We can chat about it. I know I was kind of brief with some of the answers, but, you know, I'm just doing this to get your question out there on video, hopefully help a couple of people just with a quick answer, and then if you personally want to message me and go more in depth on it, feel free to do so. So I hope you like this J.A.M session. I hope you're liking the series that I'm doing. I'm going to throw a post on Facebook in a few days, so make sure you join the Fusaro Fitness Facebook page so you get the opportunity to ask a question and I'll answer it on camera for you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So thanks again so much for your support. I really appreciate it. I'm enjoying doing these Q&A type videos. And until next time, I will see you later. Thanks again.